Everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Lucid's 2022 Tournament Game 4, where we are playing Nazca. This is turn 81. It's fucking time. Let's do this shit, shall we? Okay. We're doing it. We're pulling the trigger, but we've got some stuff to get to first. So let's go through all of the previous turns shenaniganry before we get hot and heavy into all of what is happening this turn. Okay. A little bit of ritual summoning across the board. Nothing super surprising there. We've got some battles to watch. Looks like someone probably tossed some horrors at Van in Nam. Special monsters attacking Vanheim. Yep, we've got some spine membrane horrors. These guys are kind of neat. They can kind of like snipe your mages, which can be unfortunate. Oh, they got an air elemental in and amongst them, though. Oh, oh. I don't think they're going to do well against all of these Einhirs. They're going to get chopped up. Now, there's just a little too much for them to deal with. Did they get anything? They got 2 of the Windmasters, actually. So, this was probably a Summon Lesser Horror cannon, right? And that means that 2 Windmasters, absolutely worthwhile, probably. I would consider that worthwhile. Pretty good snipe. And quite a few Einhirs, actually, so that's fun. Interesting. We've got Arco attacking. I'm a little stuffed up, so I apologize in advance. We've got Arco attacking Vanheim in the Kaukasus Wilderness. It feels like we're fighting back and forth over this over and over again. We've got a little hoplite stack, led by a sleeper. Interesting. I'm always, I feel like sleepers are one of these things of if you have good nature income, they can be fun to get if you don't have good leaders, because they are very good leaders, right? But at the same time, I'm somewhat like, I don't know, I feel like I'd really have to be desperate for a good leader to spend the gems on them. Although I spend gems on plenty of other random inane shit, so this is probably a good investment. They're a neat unit. Get it out as well, right? Monolith armor? What the fuck? Got some magic resist. Has a Boots of Giant Strength paired with the Bow of the Titans, right? So, additional strength, meaning really high, hard-hitting damage bow. I am somewhat surprised that he's so far forward, but maybe it's actually so that he doesn't get sniped by things in the back, because he does have a very long range with the Bow of the Titans. Anyways, moving on. Some astrologers, an Archuza, a llama back here, Lamia even, another Archuza. They're up against basically nothing though. So, this is the unfortunate part of like raiding back and forth in land is who actually runs into who at the right time. So this is a fun little thing, but is it actually gonna do anything for Arco, or is Van gonna now seeing it magic phase it, right? We've got Ulm attacking Arco in Sailor's Haven. Little black plate infantry stack with some master smiths, very fun. Ooh, there's a whole lot of PD here and a fair amount of other things here. So these hoplites, a bunch of mystics. This is overwhelming force unless there's some little trick in this bag that we haven't seen. Arco's definitely going to win this, because most of these casualties are going to come from the province defense. By the time these hoplites get into the mix, most of these black plate infantry are probably going to be dead to the mystics. So hoplites are coming in now. But yeah, a lot of the black plates already died due to the mystics, casting magic from the back, basically. Pillars of Fire, etc., etc. And, ooh, interesting. One mystic did end up dying here. 2 hoplites, the rest kind of whatever, but I'm curious as to what happened with that mystic. The forces of Ulm lost most of those guardians, only lost 1 master smith. So actually a bit of a fair exchange for the mystic for the Mastersmith, but the Guardians not so much, right? Interesting. Okay, cool. Unexpected event. We have accepted the offer. So I didn't really talk about this too terribly much, but we've had the Cthulhu event ongoing in Amul, right? We had the offer last time come in from the forces of the deep of like, look, we can do this the hard way or we can do this the easy way, and if we do this the easy way, we'll give you something, right? So we took that offer because I was just like, let's see what happens. I didn't look up all the stuff, right? The event chain and everything like that. I probably should have. Maybe I could have gotten something better. Because I didn't realize we were also going to tank our Dominion in Amul, which is a little unfortunate. That's not great. But yeah, so that hurts. We accepted their offer. We got -7 Dominion. We'll check what we got out of it. Actually, let's just go check right now. We get this thing, this greater otherness, right? And this is cool, right? This is a size 6, high HP, stacked on traits. Regenerating, resisting everything, trampling, sacred, otherworldly being. And that's kind of neat. That's kind of fun. I mean, if we were getting one of these a turn, this would be like, hell yeah. If we got 5 of these, this would be like a hell yeah. But we only got one of them, and it cost us 7 Dominion. I'm not sure we're super happy with that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? Aside from that, we've got a handful of gems to be found in a hot valley. So we got some fire gems, and we did foresee a great disaster and took proper countermeasures to halt it. I love Fortune Teller. It's a great skill. Events for the turn: 1 negative, 1 positive. This one's kind of questionable. Obviously, the fire gems is a positive, but is the Cthulhu event a negative this time around? And I kind of feel like, yeah, ultimately, it's a negative this time around. So Cthulhu event results in a Mule Dominion -7, and we get a greater otherness, right? Which is cool, but I don't know that it's like that cool. Maybe I need to look it up on the Dom Inspector. Maybe we can Gift of Reason or names it, right? And maybe it'll be cool if we turn it into a commander. That would be neat. We'll look into that. And then fire gems +8, so we have that. And yeah. Aside from that, we lose another fucking scout because there's so much damn patrolling in this game, I swear to God. And that's it. So now Excite Bike. now we get to really talk about what's happening in this game. I say that. Let's do this here. Normally we go over we go in the process of read the messages, what happened in the last turn, right? Talk about what are our basic logistics and moves going to be, what's happening in the world, and then talk about mechanical reportable things like recruiting and rituals and forging and stuff like that. Obviously, we've got a lot to talk about here because it's go time, right? So let's instead, because I think this is actually the more exciting stuff, let's instead run through the reportable stuff real quick, because right now, none of the reportable stuff is super duper interesting. In regards to this. Sometimes it is going to be interesting in regards to this, but right now, nothing's crazy. So, recruitment real quick. 1 Lizard Shaman, 1 Koya, and 5 Sun Guard. Just continuing to try to move the recruitment train down the road. It is super difficult. We have very little income every single turn. It's rough. It's really, really rough. Lizard Shamans, I think, are going to result in us having better efficacy down here against Pelagia in the Blackport Peninsula, basically. So that's part of the reason why we're continuing to produce there. We want Koyas, I think, because we want teleportable battlecasters, etc., and we want Sun Guard forever. Simple, easy peasy. We are doing Nazcan recruits. We have 53 Hatan Runa this turn. Golm is still producing, even at shitty population. 53 Hatan Runa this turn, 194 Long Dead Warriors. Instead of cracking that 200 mark, we've had to slip down because we're moving some people around. So 194 Long Dead Warriors, 10 recalled Supayas. We know that number is decreased because we now have Royal Malquis in the field, 2 summoned Supayas for 14 Supayas, and then 1 summoned Huaka. So those are all of the Nazcan recruits for the turn. And still doing good. Very happy about the number of Long Dead that we're producing every turn. That's pretty good shit. I like that a lot. Special recruits, we're back down to our normal number, just 1 Dire Wolf and 1 Dustwalker, because all of our other special recruitables are on the move. They battle, on to battle! We've got some rituals this turn. Rituals! 5 Revive Kings. That's it. We just spent 15 death gems reviving kings across our freaking across our empire because we've got so many undead producing. We need bodies, right? We've got all of these different locations have stacks, right, that we can pull. In fact, we could have pulled here, but I ran out of I didn't have people to cast without fucking up research shit, right? So we've got Revive Kings basically here, I think here, and maybe not here. Here? Yeah, we got Revive Kings in a bunch of different places, right? For the intention of pick up a stack of 80 undead, move it towards the coast, plunge into the water. And we're probably going to be doing this for several turns, right? We only really stopped because we ran out of a combination of people we wanted to move, people we wanted researching, and gems. As you can see, our gems are shit right now because we've thrown a lot of gems all over the place. So yeah, 5 Revive Kings, that's all we have for rituals. Ultimate Gateway, still doing that, still saving every single turn. 6 Astral saved and 8 Death saved this turn. So that's awesome. And then, as far as forging goes, we're doing very little forging this turn. Forging 2 Gate Cleavers and 1 Ring of Water Breathing. We want more Rings of Water Breathing. I actually had, even with all the prep work we did, I had a tough time this turn getting all of the bodies into water that I wanted. And I realized that to take some of our the only reason we're even able to get things in position to where we want them right now is because most of our forces are still targeting land targets. So if we want more bodies in water, which we're going to have, we will need more Rings of Water Breathing or the like. So we're going to continue to produce those basically every turn. I would be producing more, but I'm out of water gems, right? And this is where the regret for producing doing the naiads comes in, because now I'm like, ugh, I could have used those water gems. Fuck. Right? The 2 Gate Cleavers, I think we talked about those at length previously. It's just the idea that we've got a lot of earth. We should transform that earth into something, into power in some sense. Gate Cleavers are a very interesting way for us to do that because we can send little stacks into locations that we otherwise would not be able to crack in a single turn normally. But with a Gate Cleaver or 2, absolutely we can crack that in a single turn. So, those are all the reportables. Let's talk about what the fuck is going on. You can see the just wave of red going in the direction of Pelagia. Let's look. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 provinces that we are attacking this turn. Most of the provinces are not big commitment attacks. Most of these coastal provinces are just stacks of undead with the concept of, hey, do something about this or else it will crack this fort this turn or next turn, right? And then we have big stacks going at Illidan and at Ermithia. These are stacks that are designed, I think, right, intentionally designed with the concept of like, you don't want to fight us for these, right? These have everything that we can throw into them. Really big mixes of, I say really big mixes, decently sized mixes of mages for us, right? Not for anyone else, because we have small mage cadres. And all of the buffs that we can throw in with nasty sacreds. So Ermithia and Illidar kind of getting hammered. And then we've got in the north, right, in the actual Pelagian homeland, we've got a bunch of our Supaya underwater invasion forces with little forces here or there thrown in. So let's go through each and every one of these. Some of them we'll gloss over real quick because they'll be very easy to gloss over. Others will be somewhat more complicated to discuss. First one is actually over here in Rutha, and this is our little She champion with our little fucking... what is it? Dinya Shees, I think is what they're called, right? Little stack. And this is not expected to be able to accomplish much. This will murder the shit out of a fair amount of province defense, honestly. This will probably, thanks to the aggressive nature of our bless, or I say aggressive nature, the robustness of our bless, these guys getting all blessed up will be able to take 30, 40, 50, 60 PD, potentially, depending on what's going on there. So not really worried about these, but worried about the counter stroke, right? If Pelagia decides to send anything worth its salt, it probably will be able to fuck these guys up. However, you got to keep in mind, we do have thunder weapons on all these when they're all blessed up. And we've kitted out the She Champion to have relatively high magic resistance so that it can't just get mind hunted down super easily. It could still, but it might not, right? And it's relatively difficult to kill, you know, all things considered. It does have a golden sword. It can cut through things. These guys do piercing damage, right? They don't have magic weapons, though, so that is a concern. But any thug or anything like that had to go against them would have to come in with shock resistant, right? Because otherwise the thunder weapons will fuck them up. So, pretty interesting situation we've got there. We are actually skipping Blue Beauty right now, just because this is another scenario where I was like, I don't quite have enough bodies to be able to throw underwater with the combination of rings to throw them underwater. So instead, we have several strike forces going at the Pelagian area. Most of these are not intended to be existential threats. They're intended to screw up movement, to screw up income tracing, just to mess with different scenarios, and potentially threaten cracks, not necessarily in a single turn, but maybe 2 turns, depends on the situation. Stormy Deep being the first one, this actually is a Wall Integrity 100 scenario, so we are sending a stack of 40 Supayas and 2 Huron Priests. We have that mix, right? We talked about this concept of we want to try to include an Astral Mage in each of these underwater strike forces so that Pelagia is discouraged from doing something like Mind Hunt. Can still do it, absolutely can still do it, but has a chance of like, ooh, if I Mind Hunt that, I could get feeble-minded, and if I don't have a lot of ways to fix that, then that is hard for me to deal with, right? Aside from that, we are currently doing a Horde of Skeletons spam because we are assuming that there's not going to be much there, and that the Supayas will mostly take care of it. In the future, what we will probably do is we will probably swap over to something advanced and cast spells, right? For the threat of like Drain Lives and things like that. Can we do Drain Life? That alteration? Yeah, Drain Life and Disintegrate, right? So those are both very, very effective at dealing with thugs, which is a discouragement, right? Difficult to go in to send a basic thug against this because it could get Drain Life down, it could get Disintegrated down. And the Supayas themselves, these are relatively robust Supayas. Once they get all blessed up, they will hit relatively hard. Not super hard, but relatively hard. And they'll murder any sort of like water elemental shenaniganry or anything like that. Easy peasy murder. So, We've got that type of situation. Unfortunately, this is where we didn't prep as much as we probably should have. If we had some gate cleavers, we could throw... We only have one, right? And I think we decided to use it elsewhere. Yes. So if we had more, we could throw them on, two on Stormy Deep, and very potentially pop it in a single turn, which would be a threat. It would be, okay, Pelagia, you need to respond to this, or else you're going to lose a fort, right? Speaking of which, we're also throwing a stack at Pelagia, right? Same type of situation, expecting not a lot of patrolling, expecting to take out the PD, and then we'll probably flit away to somewhere else, right? Same type of scenario in Narian Sea. So boom, 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 hit, 40, 40, 40, two Huron priests each. These are going to be able to kill a shit ton of PD, potentially even like straight up 100 PD I think is killable by Supayas and two Huron priests. Maybe not, because the Huron priests might get overwhelmed, not the Supayas necessarily, but the Huron priests might get overwhelmed. But again, I'm not expecting that robust of a defense. I think we'll be good. At most, maybe we lose like one of these parties because Pelagia is patrolling on their capital with more than we expect or something like that, right? Over here in Blue Water, we're sending just a stack of 80 Long Dead. This is going to be a lot of what we're going to do is throw 80 Long Dead at this province, right? This province doesn't have a fort on it. Throw 80 Long Dead on it. 80 Long Dead will kill a fair amount of PD, right? Not a crazy amount of PD. You start to get to like 15, 20, and depending on what the PD is, it can take it, right? But 6 PD any day of the week. 10 PD most days of the week, right? Yeah, further up, it matters, right? But what's important is we just have Long Dead everywhere because they can threaten adjacent provinces, or they can stop movement from one province, one forted province, out of that or into another, right? Like those types of things. We're just creating roadblocks that we don't really care that much about, because what is this investment to us? This is a third of a turn. Not quite a third of a turn, but, you know, like, close to a third of a turn's production of, a little more than a third of a turn's production of Long Dead for us, and 3 gems. Kill it, whatever, right? But every time you kill it, you mind hunt this Mound King. Okay, cool. That is a mage that is mind hunting that Mound King. That is gems going towards that mind hunt, and that is that mage not participating in a major conflict. Okay, etc., etc. You get what we're going for here. In Rid, we're just sending in a stack of Hatan Runa. This actually probably has a fairly low chance of success. Local defense here is quite well organized. I just didn't have anything else that I wanted to send here that wasn't already committed elsewhere. So that's basically the situation there. And then in Cerulean Sea, we get into kind of like our first joint combat scenario of this is actually designed to crack this fort and be something that Pelagia will have to respond to, or else lose the fort. This is a 250 wall integrity scenario with the 40 Hatan Runa that we have here. That is, or not Hatan Runa, Supayas. These are 2 siege strength per, so they're 80 siege strength on their own, plus another 80 siege strength. That's 160, plus another 80 siege strength, right? Plus another 80 siege strength. So we have thrown in here a gate cleaver as well, and this is probably where we didn't need to have it, but I wanted to make sure we were threatening this location and saying, if you don't deal with this, this is a fort for us, right? So we'll see what happens. In regards to what we have here, we have the threat that we've already discussed with the Huron priests, right? These probably should already be on advance and cast spells because we are landing on this fort. But for now, we have them, again, just Horde of Skeleton spamming. We have each of our Hydromancers doing Living Water out of the gate. right? They are on conservative gem usage, so hopefully we don't have to do anything here. But if there are some crazy patrolling things, living water can do a lot of work against that, right? And alternatively, if we need to, we can get into summoning just a single water elemental every turn, doing something like liquid body. We have gems to be able to do like shark attack, etc., etc. So, this isn't like this is going to beat the shit out of anything. Pelagia can absolutely respond with the ways to kill this, but this is a threat of you have to respond to this or else you're going to lose a fort. What are you going to do, right? We're going to save Illidar and Ermithia for the last because they're kind of the big ones. Down in Sea of Woe, we've got just a stack of Long Dead heading there. In Tears of the Pantocrator, we have another kind of like big stack of Supayas. So this will absolutely crack Tears of the Pantocrator. And the reason why we're here is because I'm trying to keep eyes on things. We don't have really good vision up here in the Pelagian area, and we have better vision here in the Ysene area and down here in the Oceania area. I do think there's enough forces down here in Oceania to combine into a force that could actually fight us. So we're going to have to worry about that. So the reason why we're hitting Tears of the Pantocrator is because I think it's kind of in a position. I don't think there's enough at Ys to combine and defeat it. So I think we're going to get it for free unless Pelagia sends something big, like kitted out Triton Kings or something like that, right? So we've got that situation going on. Other than that, nothing really new or super surprising or anything like here. This should absolutely crack this fort in a single turn, right? Down in Whirling Sea, we have a bunch of Long Dead, upwards of, 240 siege strength. So this won't crack this in a single turn, but it'll get close. It's that putting it in check. It's saying, if you don't do something about this, we'll pop this next turn. And depending on what our real move is depending on where Pelagia goes with these forces, right? We could take what is here if we don't get attacked, right? And go here, right? Just branch out. And the plan again is just put Long Dead everywhere. We don't care about the Long Dead dying. Send them all over the place, right? Start invading these backline scenarios and seeing what we can get there, right? Down here in Sea of Karassos, we have another big stack, same type of situation as in Whirling Sea. Big enough that I'm threatening the scenario of, hey, you should come deal with this or else this is going to get popped. And it's led by multiple different situations where we're like, okay, now we can branch out and go sit on different forts. Down in Hippocampus Fortune, just a single stack of Long Dead. Okay. Those are like the big one, or those are all the sea attacks and then these northern two attacks, right? What are we doing in Ermithia and Illidar? Illidar first. We're doing fucking everything we can, right? We've got entire groups. Illidar actually is the group that we decided to take our archers to, right? So we have a little front line of earth elementals. We have a bunch of archers, including some fairy archers, some sprites or whatever, right? We have big stacks of Huacas, Supayas, a bunch of Long Dead. We have Condors here for siege strength. We have air elementals in the back as well. And we're doing basically every big buff that we can here, right? So just going down the list, we're doing Strength of Giants across the board on a bunch of our Huron priests in order to, soup up our strength, our damage. We've got Army of Gold coming out with also some Living Earth to provide some, fuckery with tramples. We've got, actually, Aea is coming in all the way from Satrandith, right? And she's coming in to actually be a little bit of a thug, with the main gauche of pairing. She's going to come in with Storm Power, Mirror Image. She's going to Thunderstrike just to buy some time. And then she's actually going to attack rear. See if she can go fuck up some people with Lightning Swarm and her main gauche. And just be a general nuisance in the back line. We have our very kitted out Inca for morale plays, right? And we have as many people on this Inca fully stacked as we can. Supayas, Condors, Huacas, Condor Warriors, Alcac Runas, etc., etc. Most of which are rocking a bunch of experience, so they're very high tiered units right now. Just doing some Divine Blessing and then some Thunder Striking, probably. We've got Water Elementals coming out, more Strength of Giants, more Water Elementals. We've got Will of Fates coming out, some Soul Slay. We've got Wind Guide coming out for our Alcac Runas, right? We've got Arrowfiend for ourselves, some Thunder Strike coming out. We have a Royal Malqui jumping into the mix. This one doesn't look right. I feel like I misplayed here or did not put in the thing that I don't know. This Royal Malqui should be doing anti-magic out of the gate. I might have either fucked that up or I might have this turn might not have the final kind of like information, but who knows. I'll have to double check. So out of the gate, nothing crazy here, but this should be anti-magic out of the gate, and then potentially other things. We have a ground army coming up. We've got things like Mass Regeneration, Serpent's Blessing, Relief. We've got a lot of nature gems on the Fairy Queen. I wish we had a Cornucopia on her. We probably should have a Cornucopia on her. We've got Fog Warriors coming out. We've got a fair amount of Quickening coming out in our center mass where the majority of our Huacas and Supayas are. We're getting a bunch of Quickening. We're getting Frostfinned up, Warriors of Niflheim. So we have all of the resistance spells, some Quickening, and then we're also throwing in Wailing Winds, right? This is, I'm assuming, going to be major overkill for Illidar, and it's designed to be that way. We don't even see barely anything here, right? And we don't really even see much in the surrounding areas. And the idea there, the intent, is to be such an overwhelming force as to say to Pelagia, because Pelagia has issues coming out of the water, right? Is to say to Pelagia, don't fight this. This is not a fight that you want to take. Maybe throw a thing in and see if you can get some kills, but don't fight it for real. We're going to take this, and then we're going to have to fight you in the water where you have the advantage, right? That's the message that we're trying to send. And hopefully Pelagia goes for it, because that's the truth, right? Like, it is possible that they could throw a bunch at us in Illidar, but I don't think that it will amount to that much. What we have here can kill most things, between the concept of Soul Slay, Frozen Heart spam, Disintegration, Drain Life, just the actual like damage that we can do when you're looking at a Huaca that has +4 strength and another +4 strength from Strength of Giants on it, right? Hitting for 27 or 26 piercing damage is gonna get chipped through most things, right? It's doable, but it's going to chip through most things. You get into the concept of having things like Thunderstrike. We don't have Pillars of Fire yet, so there's that. But there's great difficulty would have to go into killing this stack with something like a Thug or a Super Combatant, rather, right? And here's another reason why, by the way, people have asked why I'm attacking Pelagia, right? How do I feel like I'm going to be able to beat Pelagia? Well, because Pelagia, again, it's underwater. Pelagia doesn't get to use all of the late game tools underwater or from underwater that other people might get to, right? Is Pelagia Evocation 9? Cool. Great. You can't Flames from the Sky me. Can you Murdering Winter underwater? I can't even remember. Flames from the Sky is really the... You can from underwater, but you can't target underwater provinces. Right? So you could Murdering Winter us. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. But you can't throw 3 flames from the sky at us, right? So this is one of those situations where we are at an advantage because we, as the land nation, are fighting on land. Pelagia can come in and do stuff like... Foul Vapors, right? We have Serpent's Blessing, we should be fine. Mass Regeneration, Serpent's Blessing, we should be fine, right? Pelagia could come in and do something like Wind of Death. In this case, this might actually be a problem, but in the case that we're supposed to be operating in the way that maybe I fuck, I don't know. Maybe I do I have a scout moving in here? It doesn't look like it. I feel like I fucked up or this is not the complete turn. So in theory, this Royal Malquis doing anti-magic, not one turn, but like 0 turn anti-magic is gonna really make things like Wind of Death hard to stick, right? Can Pelagia hurt this stack? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Can they obliterate this stack? If they can, they're gonna have to put a lot into it. Right? Like, they're going to have to put in a shit ton into it. And the same goes for Ermithia. Almost more so at Ermithia. Same type of scenario. We have a Fog Warriors caster, Wailing Winds. We got Ground Army, Strength of Giants coming out, Will of Fates. We're blessing everything. We're doing Thunder Strikes, Arrowfend, Quickening, Frostfend, Warriors of Niflheim. Here is an anti-magic. Maybe we just forgot the other one. Maybe we'll get fucked up on that one. Who knows? We got an Army of Gold coming out. We've got Mass Regeneration. We even have Life After Death coming out for this particular stack. And again, we've got a shit ton of Siege Strength. This is absolutely going to pop turn 1. 0 questions asked. If only from the fact that our Condors, we have a shit ton of Condors in both stacks, right? So, very similar type of setup, by the way. We have Long Dead in the back because the Long Dead are basically going to die. The only difference between this stack and the last stack is from a frontline standpoint. The Illidar stack is somewhat weaker because it has an Archer frontline. The Ermithia stack has a Sun Guard frontline. And this Sun Guard frontline is going to be jacked. When it's fully buffed up, it is going to be very difficult to get through. The only issue being is that it doesn't have the greatest attack density, right? It's only got 2 attacks per square. But those attacks are solid attacks, right? Like the Sun Mace hits hard when fully buffed. It should do a decent job. And in point of fact, these guys are actually set up to stay as a line rather than... Because I think this is the proper, if I'm remembering correctly, if you set them in a line and you have them do something like attack, then that will cause them to march forward in the line, if I'm remembering correctly. If you do like the box and just attack whatever, then they'll fly up and then, yeah. So anyways, that's the generalized game plan. My expectation, we will smash Illidar, we'll smash Ermithia. Pelagia might send a little bit into either one of those, but more likely, Pelagia will focus on hitting back in Tears of the Pantocrator or Cerulean Sea to try to make sure that I don't get a foothold underwater. They will move these forces towards Blackport, right? Which is fine, because we're just going to sit here and cause this to be kind of like this choke point scenario of where do you want to go, right? And all of these other things are just going to be little pester bites. Maybe we'll see some action up here in the Pelagian actual like home circle because of the Supayas that are coming out. But yeah, I'm actually really, really excited to see how all of this turns out. We've got a lot going on. We are still researching up to Conjuration 9 to try to get... what's it called? Ghost Riders. We get other things, but Ghost Riders are really what we're after here. And yeah, that's it. After we hit that, maybe before we hit that, who knows, I realized we didn't have this while I was actually scripting this fucking turn. I was like, shit, you know what we don't have? We don't have Weapons of Sharpness. Weapons of Sharpness is another thing that's relatively easy for us to get because we can take a double Earth Huron Priest or a Koya, and we can do Pebble? Blood Pebble? Is that what it's called? What are they called? Right here. Bloodstone. My bad. We can basically do exactly what we're doing here, right? But then just Earth Power, you're at Earth 5, and then you cast Weapons of Sharpness. And Weapons of Sharpness is huge, by the way, right? So Weapons of Sharpness, you really only need one caster to go. If you're trying to hit like a big our Huaka Sapaya blocks, if you're just trying to hit those, it's very easy to just be like, Summon Earth Power, Weapons of Sharpness, Weapons of Sharpness. That's half your fucking field, right? Like, area 25 is huge. So it's very easy to get most of them with one caster. And it's not difficult for us to get two casters if we want to do like a forward caster, back caster, kind of like cover more of the fields for us. So yeah, Weapons of Sharpness is something that I wish we already had, but we are moving towards. Still playing catch up, right? In that overall concept, still playing. We will always be playing catch up. I assume people are getting close to or finishing research at this point. We still got a bit to go, but I think we have what we need to be able to fight. Now it's just goodies, right? Like getting little extra gimmicks and goodies here or there. Weapons of Sharpness will be a pretty big gimmick, pretty big goodie for us to use, though. So, pretty excited about that. All right, that's it. That's a whole. I say that's it. That's 40 minutes worth of us talking about all of these different attacks. All of the other logistics that we've got going on is just moving around to support that kind of concept. Also, love this, right? Love this type of scenario where I can actually move Kings and Long Dead directly into the ocean, not from the coast. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah. We're going to see how this goes next turn. I'm expecting... I don't know what I'm expecting, actually. Right? Like, we selected Pelagia for a reason, right? We're attacking Pelagia for a reason. Because Pelagia has not the greatest scales, because they took a very aggressive bless to try to win the underwater war, which they did, right? And Pelagia's gone through, they're now on their third player, right? So they've changed hands a lot. There was a lot of steam, perhaps, lost trying to get on land in the West Coast, trying to take thrones, right? Specifically, I think Mudwood and Obelshin, maybe Viserion Arches as well, right? And the hope is that Pelagia, even though they've been 3 cap for, 50 turns, sure, right? But they haven't been scaling, is the hope, right? And they've been bleeding themselves over and over and over again on these coastal assaults that haven't gained them much. So the hope is that we're going to have a very concerted effort. If we get lucky in some big battles, right, we'll be able to knock out large sections of the military might of Pelagia, and we win attrition wars. We win attrition wars. We win attrition wars because we produce 200 Long Dead a turn, and because we produce we produced 24 Supaya Sacreds this turn, and 7 Huaka Sacreds this turn, and 5. Right, you get the point, right? We have a lot that we are producing. We don't have a very big economy, but we're free spawning, quote unquote, a lot of replacement Sacreds every single turn. So. Fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.